Alright, time for a station update. This is a technical little thing, so if you're not interested in the technology behind the radio station, well, you can give this clip a miss. But if you think technology is cool and audio engineering is the where it's at, so to speak, well, please feel free to join me here, where we're gonna talk a little bit about the new sound of the station. Okay, everything isn't fully dialed in yet, so some of the settings may not be perfect, but I'm testing it out right now, and it sounds kinda really awesome. Okay, so I bought something called a UAD. It's a microphone preamp with a processor on board. If you take a look at the left side of the screen, you can see Play It Live. That's the radio automation program. That's what's running the station as we're speaking. And to the right, you can see my audio processing stack. It looks like a number of dials and stuff, but let me walk you through them then. This is kind of representation. Everything that's really happening with this audio stack to the right is actually happening on the onboard device, not on this computer. What you see here on the screen is kind of the device representing everything, and it looks like old-time stuff, and it is. It's totally the kind of things that you had in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but they have kind of created digital replicas of them, which means that all those kind of weird analog things, like tube warmth and distortion that those devices gave, they have actually reproduced them. So this sounds like a vintage station, like a lot of the audio processing is like, I don't know, 80s, 90s, 70s. It's a mix of all kind of stuff here. Which is kind of fitting because this is a retro station, so why not a little bit of a retro sound and such? Okay, I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing here. If you take a look on the right part of the screen and you take a look around here, I think you can see my mouse here. This is where the channel goes in, and my Neumann U87 microphone is kind of feeding into this. And the inserts are actually the stack of devices you see here. And they are applied in the top to bottom configuration. So the sound is first fed into this little thing, which is kind of a channel strip. It expands the signal a little bit to remove noise in the background, and it also has a rather comprehensive equalizer profile that I set up here. This kind of gives me a good sound. It kind of compensate for the room and makes sure that everything is fine on the input stage, so to speak. Then we're entering the first compressor here. This one is a legendary 1176LN. That's a low noise edition, and it doesn't do much. As you can see, the needle is barely moving, but if I started to scream a little bit, you can see it's doing a little bit more. Not much, but something. This is kind of to clip the top, so I can scream off the top of my lungs and it will not distort. Then it feeds into this thing. It's a de-esser, and I have some seriously sibilant voice. So if I say S like this, you can see that thing deflects pretty heavy, and that's because you don't want to hear some of those S's can sound like they could shatter glass. I mean, it could be really nasty sound. Hurt, painful to listen to, so the de-esser kind of pushes them back. Then it's feeding into my favorite instrument here, the legendary Teletronics leveling amplifier, the LA2A, and I think this is the silver edition. It is a limiter in this case, which kind of pushes the whole sound down a bit and then compensates for it. What you can think about it, it works like a little bit like this. You generally squish the sound together like this now, and then you lift the whole squished sound up so that it kind of fills the whole meter, as you can see here. And this means that you get a very, very compact and very punchy sound that can kind of break through environments. If you have, like, you're listening to the station in your car, I can easily kind of talk over the engine noise. Or if this is in a cafe or a pub or anything. Radio station has done this for many years, and originally it was AM stations that you needed to punch through all the static because AM doesn't sound good. FM also has a number of problems with static here. So yeah, you need stuff like this. And in the end, we have this baby. This is actually a whole device for cutting off the low and high cuts. What I basically say is if it's a frequency below 50 hertz and if it's above 15,000 hertz, then I will simply just take it away. So this is because, I don't know, 15,000 hertz is not anything serious and important there. I mean, my hearing is so bad I cannot hear about 12. But it's kind of good to remove whatever that could be, noises from old TV machines and whatever. But the low cut is important because below 50 hertz, there's a lot of rumbling. If my neighbor is running around or if the elevator starts doing things, I have an elevator over here, by the way, then it's kind of nice to have something that that filters that out. And that's the whole stack. It then gets fed into this Voicemeeter thing, if you have seen it, so I can show you there. And you just pretty much pushes it into mono. And now let's take a look at what we're doing to play it live. Assume that we want to talk, and I'm not going to save this one because I don't think the listeners want this test. So we go in here at... let me see. Oh, okay. I'm done here. So at 2 o'clock here p.m., then I can actually take this voice track here, and I can say, I want to talk there. Yeah, so now when I push here, I will see the preceding song, the last 5 seconds of the preceding song. Then I will see the first 5 seconds of the coming song. And in here is the kind of empty canvas that I will be writing right now. It's basically what you will push from this stack. So what I say in the microphone gets recorded here. And the listener will hear it like I'm just casually announcing the next song and kind of saying, oh, okay, that was this and this song. Okay. Problem is you will not be hearing the songs due to technical things here. You can hear my voice, but you will not hear what I can hear in my headphones. But you can imagine, if you want to, that you hear the song ending. So let's do it. All right, that was Alistair Brimble with the Super Frog Ancient tune. Going on with a little bit of a message, and after that, it's time for Cyber SP, whatever that is. I need to get those things sorted out. As you can see, the levels are very, very similar to the levels of the song, which means that AGC that kind of compensates for low audio will not have to do much. So this is kind of cool. Then I hit it here. And okay, so what did happen there is I kind of told it after speaking I want to kind of enter the next track. And there it goes. And if I don't delete this one when we hit 17 minutes past 2 here, then the listener will get to listen to this. And no, I don't think they like that, so I'm deleting it. All right, so this is kind of the audio setup, and it sounds awesome, really. But as I said, I haven't dialed everything in perfectly yet, so there will be time to change this. And if you take a look, just a final word here. If you take a look at this electronics here, you can see it's deflecting about 3 dB or up to 5. It's running in limiter mode. So this is kind of a brick wall limiter the way it's set up. It's set up to 1 to infinity. And that means that it's pretty heavy. So you have to very much listen to this. You can't just set it up. If you have this equipment, if you do, I'm really impressed, especially if you have it as a physical device, because that would be awesome. But if you do, you probably don't need me to tell you how to set it up. But anyway, you have to listen and dial it in. Just because the meter says everything is hunky-dory doesn't mean that it will sound good. Well, I hope this has been some kind of enlightenment. Otherwise, it's just nerdy. But that's me, folks. Thanks for listening.